No, take the garbage bag out, put it in there. You can't just put it in the garbage can like that. You have to have a bag.
For a white bag. Put it in the white
White
bag.
garbage bag. Just take that white garbage bag out. You feel like you don't understand. I'm not saying it. Well, get off that thing. Come on, help me.
Alright.
Put it still there.
Huh?
I think it's coming still over there.
You want another one? All you have to do is pause it, so now you can officially get my phone for real, for real.
Okay.
No, it's late.
How can I put it?
Like you just paused it. But you want to stand there and still play. So your time is up. Help me to put the garbage. And you still stand there. Oh, you don't make it tomorrow too.